In today's lecture, we'll be studying about the factors affecting the enzyme's activity. In the last lecture, I have in the last lecture, what happened? So in the last lecture, we have studied about what is enzyme, and we have studied about the nomenclature and the classification of enzymes. And today's lecture will be studying about what are the factors which are affecting the enzyme activities. Okay. So coming to the learning objective, in this particular lecture, we'll be studying about the main factors that affect the enzyme activity, the environmental factors, conditions like temperatures, denaturations, pH, substrate concentration, enzyme concentration, etc. All these factors we'll be studying which will affect the enzyme activity. Then introduction to cofactors and the coenzymes we'll be studying, and introduction to the enzyme inhibitors. So we'll be studying all these topics in this particular lecture. So what affects enzyme activity? I have told you what is enzyme. Enzyme is nothing but a protein, and it will help to catalyze any biochemical reaction. Okay. So there are some factors which can affect the activity, or you can say the rate to which the enzymes catalyze any reactions. These factors are environmental conditions, cofactor and coenzymes, and enzyme inhibitors. Okay. So coming to the first factor which will affect the enzyme activity is the environmental conditions. So as we all know that the enzyme is nothing but a protein. If you take an example of like protein, if you take an example of an egg, if you put an egg in a boiling water and if you take it out, what you will see? The albumin, the white part will get coagulated. So it is because of the heat which is coming from the water. And that because of that heat, the protein which is there inside the egg cell will get coagulated, and that's why you will get that hard boiled egg. If you guys have eaten this hard boiled egg, you will see like if you open a raw egg, you will see that it will have a white part and it will have a yellow part. When you put that egg, the raw egg, into a boiling water, and you will take it out after like 5 minutes or 6 minutes, and you just open it and open that the egg. If you remove the egg shell and take out the egg inside, you will see that the protein has been coagulated. This is because the denaturation, because at the high heat the protein will get denaturation. So it means the temperature will also affect the activity of the enzyme. So what it says, the extreme temperatures are the most dangerous. So high temperature means denatures the enzyme, because enzymes are nothing but the protein. So at a higher temperature, these enzymes will get denatured. The second point will be your pH. So the pH will also affect the enzyme activity. Or we all know that the pepsin enzyme, which is a digestive enzyme, it will act perfectly, or you can say it normally function at a pH of 2. Okay. Then coming to the third factor is your substrate concentration. The substrate is nothing but on which the enzyme is acting. And final one is your enzyme concentration, that how much enzyme is present there to catalyze the biochemical reaction. Then coming to the first one, the optimum temperature. Any enzyme, or you can say every enzyme which is present in the science inside any human, you can say inside any living organism, it required an optimum temperature. Optimum temperature is nothing but the temperature at which the enzyme works perfectly, or you can say works at its maximum velocity, or you can say it works at its maximum capacity. Okay, so temperature at which the enzymatic reactions occur fastest. So every enzyme, every biochemical reactions require an optimum temperature. So we all know that the human body has a temperature of 37 degrees. So generally, the temperature which is required for a human, like the enzyme which are acting inside a human body, the optimum temperature is 37 degrees. Okay. So if you see this graph, this particular graph, so you will see that the as the temperature increases, like from, if you see the x-axis, if you see my cursor, the 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60. Okay. As the temperature increases from 0 to 10, the graph is increasing slowly. Just have a look on my cursor, where my cursor is going on. So at the 20 degree, the enzyme activity is increasing. So when the graph, if you see this bell shape, this is the doom. You can say this is the roof of this particular graph. If you see this roof, 37 at the particular 37 degree, the graph has attained the highest position. So it is nothing but the optimum temperature. So it shows that at 37, that is 37 degrees, nothing but human body temperature. So at 37 degree, the enzymes act as at the fastest. You know, it will catalyze the reaction at the fastest pace. Okay. Now, if you see, the temperature is increasing furthermore. The enzyme activity is decreasing. If you see the graph, see, if after 37 degree, if you increase the temperature again, the graph start falling off. It means that the enzymes are getting denatured because of this heat. Okay. So, effect of temperature on enzyme activity. I have shown you like how the graph will go. So from 30, the graph is starting. The temperature is 30. If you see the graph, it is increasing, and at 37 degree, it has reached the maximum. And after 37 degree, it start again falling off. So it shows that every enzyme required a perfect, or you can say it required an optimum temperature. Then only it will work perfectly, or you can say it will work at its the function of the enzyme will be normal. So increasing the temperature causes more collagen. So what is the science behind this particular temperature? Like we are studying this topic, the effect of temperature on enzyme activity. So we know that as the temperature increases, which causes the more collagen between the substrate and the enzyme molecule. So as the temperature increases, because of that, the kinetic energy of the molecule and the enzyme will increase. So there will be more collagen between the enzyme and the molecule. The rate of reaction therefore increases as the temperature increases. So because of that more collagen, the rate of reaction will increase as the temperature increases. We can see from this graph. Okay. So after hitting the critical, or you can say the optimum temperature, the graph will again fall off because the enzyme denatures when the temperature gets too high. The rate of reaction decreases as the enzyme become non-functional. And because of that, if the enzyme get denatured or it will not function properly, the rate of reaction again will fall down because there is no enzyme to catalyze that particular biochemical reaction. Okay. So this is the effect of temperature on enzyme activity. So higher temperature causes more collagen between the atoms, ions, molecule, etc. It is therefore increases the rate of reaction, or you can say it's a turnover rate. So more collagen increases the likelihood that the substrate will collide with the active site of the enzyme. So what it says, when the temperature increases, the activity of enzyme increases because the substrate which is there, the substrate which is there, which need to be catalyzed, this enzyme. So as the temperature increases, the collagen between the active site and the substrate increase. Because of that, the rate of reaction increases. As the temperature increases beyond that particular optimal temperature, the active site which is present there on the enzyme will get denatured. Because of that, the rate of reaction will start falling off. So that's the second point. Above a certain temperature, activity began to decline because the enzyme began to denature. We all know at a particular temperature, the protein will get denatured. How the egg is getting denatured, I have given an example of an egg. If you put a raw egg in a boiling water and take out after some time, you will see all the protein which are present in an egg will get denatured, or you can say it get coagulated. The same is the case with the enzyme which are present inside a living organism. At a particular temperature only they will function normally. Above that, they will get denatured. So the rate of chemical reaction therefore increases with increase in temperature, but then decreases. So ultimate conclusion from this particular graph is that the rate of reaction will increase with increase in temperature, and it will hit the optimum. The maximum rate will increase, will obtain. But after that optimum, you can say the optimum temperature, the rate of reaction will start decreasing because of the denaturation of the enzyme. So if I say, if I, you can say, if I, you can say, if I divide this particular graph into two halves, so if you see the blue part is nothing but the enzyme activity is increasing. But after this blue part, if you hit the maximum temperature, or you can say the optimum temperature, it will come to the red part. This is the red part. So it shows that the enzyme is getting degraded. It's the alarming. Don't increase the temperature. The enzymes are getting denatured. No need of increasing the temperature now, because the rate of reaction will not increase. Apart from increasing, it will start decreasing, because the enzyme is not active. It has denatured. It will not function properly. Okay. Then the denaturation. What is denaturation? So we'll study about that one. If the hydrogen bond within an enzyme are broken, the enzyme may be unfolded or take a different shape. The enzyme is denatured. If you open a raw egg, how it will look? It will be liquidy form. It will be in a semi-liquid form. When you put that raw egg in a boiling water, it will become hard. Why? Because of that. Because why it has occurred? Because the enzyme has changed its state, or you can say the protein has changed its state because of the denaturation, or you can say because of the temperature effect. So that is nothing but your denaturation, or you can say the enzyme has denatured. Okay, a denatured enzyme will not function properly. Once the enzyme is denatured, it will not function properly, or your biochemical reaction will not proceed, because the shape of active site has changed. Because why? It will not function properly because the active site has changed. I have told you it will work like as a lock and key. If you change, if you see, if you change the shape of any key, what will happen? It will not go inside the lock, and it will not unlock that particular lock. Same is the problem with this enzyme also. If you increase the temperature, the active site which is present on an enzyme will change its shape. Because of that, the enzyme will not function properly. But there is a clause. If the denaturation is not severe, it's not very severe. If the denaturation is not severe, the enzyme may regain its original shape and become functional. अगर इसको देखा जाए, जैसे घर की चाबी होती है, तो घर की चाबी अगर थोड़ी सी टेढ़ी हो जाए, तो हम भी इसको थोड़ा ठीक हथौड़े से मार के ठीक करके हम उसको वापस यूज कर सकते हैं. बट अगर सपोज करो कि चाबी ही टूट जाए आगे से, या पूरा ही उसका जो चाबी है खराब हो जाए, तो देन विल नॉट इन ए पोजीशन टू अनलॉक आवर हाउस. सेम इज द केस विद दिस एंजाइम आल्सो. ओके, so the following will causes the denature. So these are the points which are listed below, which causes the denaturation of an enzyme. The first one is your heat, the change in the pH, the heavy metal ions, alcohol, and the UV radiation. So all these 5 factors which I mentioned below, these are the factor which causes the denature. First, heat. We have studied about heat, how the heat, or you can say the temperature. Both the things are same. So how the heat and the temperature affect the, you can say it will cause the denaturation. Then change it in the pH. If you change the pH of that particular area, then also the enzyme will get denatured. Example, pepsin. So pepsin is an enzyme which is required for the digestion in the stomach. So in the stomach, the pH is 2. But if you give that pepsin in duodenum, where the pH is alkaline, it will not function there because it will get denatured. So the biochemistry, or you can say the chemistry of that particular enzyme, is to function in the pH of 2 only. It will not function in any other pH. Okay. Then heavy metals, like your heavy metal poisons are there, lead, arsenic, and mercury, which will also cause the denaturation of enzyme. Then alcohol, severe alcoholic person, like the person who is addicted to alcohol, in that case also their enzymes are not functioning properly. Then finally is your UV radiation. Now we'll see the second, what can we say, second factor which will affect the enzyme activity is your effect of pH on enzyme activity. So how the pH is affecting the enzyme activity. So each pH has its own optimum pH. So each enzyme has its own optimum pH. For your example, pepsin. The pepsin is a digestive enzyme. Okay, it will function at the pH of 2 to 3. If you see here, the graph, if you see my this one, I'll just take out one. See here, The pepsin has an pH range, optimum pH range somewhere between close to 3. Okay, so pepsin enzyme will work in a pH of somewhere around 2.7 or 2.8. After that, it will not function properly. So this is the optimum pH for this pepsin. If you put this pepsin in the pH range of 6 to 7, it will not function. It will get denatured, or vice versa. The trypsin has an you can say the optimum pH at somewhere around close to 6. So the trypsin enzyme will function properly in the pH range of close to 6 only. If you put this trypsin enzyme in a pH range of 2, it will not function. It will denature. Yeah, or you can say vice versa. Okay. So each enzyme which are present inside human body has its own optimum pH. In that particular pH range only, it will function properly. So if you see the graph, the pH will start increasing from 2, it will start increasing. The rate of reaction also increases. If you see the graph has increased at pH somewhere around 2.7 or 2.8, the rate of reaction is at the highest. Okay, if I plot this line like this, so the rate of reaction for this graph is at highest position. If you see, the rate of reaction has increased to the maximum here. Okay, and same is the case with this particular trypsin also. If you put here and if you just drop this line perpendicular to this axis, now you see. So the trypsin and the pepsin work at maximum at pH around 3, or you can say around 6. The trypsin the maximum rate of reaction will be shown at somewhere at pH around 6.1 or 6.2 for trypsin, and for pepsin the maximum rate of reaction will be shown at 2.7 or 2.8. So that's the effect of pH. So pH, each enzyme has an optimal pH. Okay, the pepsin, an enzyme found in stomach, function best at low pH. The trypsin found in intestine function best at neutral pH. It is mentioned here, the pepsin will function at the lower pH, whereas the trypsin, which will found in the intestine, or you can say the duodenum, will function best in the alkaline pH, or you can say near to the neutral pH. A change in the pH can alter the ionization. Why? Now we will see the principle. So why this pH is affecting? So I just write the principle here. So what is the principle behind? A change in pH can alter the ionization of R group. What is R group? Amino. If you see the amino acid, I have told you in your first unit. So what is R group? If you see the structure of an amino acid, there is a R group which is dominated by the alkyl group. So R is nothing but the attachment of the alkyl group. So because of this pH change in the pH, the ionization of R group of the amino acid will occur. When the charges on the amino acid changes, the hydrogen bonding between the protein molecule change and the molecule change itself. I hope you understood now. I will repeat it again. When the pH change, there is a alteration in the ionization of R group of amino acid. When the charge on amino acids change, because amino acids amphiphilic, which is having a plus and negative charge both. It has both the charges, positive and negative. And because of this pH change, the hydrogen ion will change in the solution. Because of that, the ultimate charge on that particular amino acid will change. And because of that, the molecule will change its shape. And once the enzyme molecule has changed its shape, the active site will not be available for the substrate to bind on it. And the new shape will not be affected. This is the principle of pH, how the pH affects the activity of an enzyme. The diagram shows the pepsin function best in an acidic environment. This makes sense because the pepsin is an enzyme that is normally found in the stomach where the pH is low due to the presence of hydrochloric acid. The trypsin is found in the duodenum, or it is in the small intestine, and therefore its optimum pH is in neutral range to match the pH of the duodenum. So we all know, you have studied in your you can say HAE, where the pepsin is an enzyme which is a digestive enzyme, and it will function in the lower pH, because in the stomach the pH is low because of the presence of hydrochloric acid, and in the duodenum the pH is slightly alkaline, or you can say towards the neutral. So because of that, the trypsin will function normally in duodenum. pH also affect the rate of enzyme and substrate complex. So pH will affect the rate of enzyme and substrate complex. I have shown you how the enzyme and the substrate will bind to each other and form a complex. Because of that complex, there is a initiation of biochemical reaction. Further, the product will come out. So the most enzymes has an optimum pH of around 7. So if you can say, if you suppose in a human body there are 100 enzymes, there are a lot more than 100. But just for an example, like 100 enzymes are there. So most of them will work around neutral pH. Okay, we have only like stomach. We have the in our body, human body, the stomach is the area where the pH is very acidic. Okay, and acidity, because of the acidic environment, environment, if you have eaten any wrong food also, it will kill the microorganism inside the stomach. Okay, because of that only this hydrochloric acid has been synthesized. This is like a defensive mechanism of human body. So, however, some preferred acidic or basic condition, but there are some examples of enzyme which functions at acidic environment, or it is at the basic environment. I have shown you like the pepsin will function at the acidic environment, and whereas the trypsin will function at your alkaline environment. And if you see the human amylase, which is an enzyme which will function at a neutral environment. Okay. Now we'll study about the substrate concentration. So at lower concentration, the active site on most of the enzyme molecules are not filled because there is not much substrate. So what will happen? I'll just show you the graph. What is happening here? If you study from this graph, you will understand everything. So what is happening? There is an optimum concentration of a substrate. If the concentration of substrate is below this line, particular line, the rate of reaction will not increase. Like if you see this graph, suppose an enzyme, I will give you an example of an enzyme. One enzyme is there, suppose an pepsin. Okay, it has an active site. Like suppose there are 100 pepsins are there. So if you give 100 substrate, so it means it is like 100% efficiency is there. If you give for 100 pepsin, if you are giving 10 substrate only, so the rate of reaction will be slow. Whereas if for 100 enzyme, if you are giving 10,000 of substrate, then also it is waste, because the enzyme will function at a particular rate only. I'll just read it out for you. At lower concentration, the active site of most of the enzymes molecules are not filled because there is not much substrate. If the concentration of a substrate is low, because of that, what will happen? The active site will not get completely occupied, and because of that, the enzyme will not function at its full speed. The higher concentration causes more collision between the molecule. With more molecule and the collision, enzyme are likely to encounter molecule of the reactant. If suppose this is the graph, if you increase the concentration of the substrate, the enzyme, the rate of reaction is increasing, but it will increase up to here, up to this point. You have to see up to here. If I increase the concentration of substrate, the rate of reaction will increase. It will increase like in a non-linear manner, or I can say it's a parabolic graph. The maximum velocity of a reaction is reached when the active site are almost continuously filled, or you can say the enzyme activity will show its maximum speed until there is a continuous supply of a substrate where the 100%. You can say 100% of the enzyme is getting covered by the substrate. So ultimately the biochemical reaction will function at the highest rate of reaction. Increased substrate concentration after this point will not increase the rate of reaction. The rate of reaction therefore increases as the substrate concentration is increased and its level off. So after a certain concentration, the rate of reaction will become steady state, because if you increase the concentration of substrate also, there is no available active site which will cause the substrate to convert to the product. So after that, this particular concentration, if you draw this line, if I just draw this line here, after this, if you increase the concentration of substrate, the rate of reaction will not increase. This is your optimum concentration. After this substrate concentration, if you are increasing also, the rate of reaction will not increase because the active site of the enzyme is that occupied. The rate of reaction increases as the substrate concentration increases at a constant enzyme concentration. So what is showing that the enzyme activity increases with increase in the substrate concentration, but up to a point. The maximum activity occurs when the enzyme is saturated, when all the enzymes are binding substrate. So the maximum we can obtain up to a certain limit only. After that, the enzyme activity will not increase. Okay. Now we'll see the same thing will go with the enzyme concentration also. If there is a insufficient enzyme present, the reaction will not proceed as fast as it otherwise would, because there is no enough enzymes for all the reactant molecule. As the amount of enzyme is increased, the rate of reaction increases. If there are more enzyme molecules that are needed, adding additional enzyme will not increase the rate of reaction. The reaction rate therefore increases as enzyme concentration increases, but then it's level off. Level off is nothing but your saturated rate. This is your level off. If you see, the rate of reaction is like coming like steady state, like it's going parallel. It means the graph is not increasing now. It shows that the reaction has increased its peak position. After this, if you increase the concentration of enzyme, the rate of reaction will not increase. Okay. Now the other factors are your coenzymes and the cofactors. Inorganic substances like zinc and iron and vitamins are sometimes needed for proper enzymatic activities. I've told you in a previous lecture also, like cofactors and the coenzymes are required for the proper functioning of enzymes. Example, iron must be present in the quaternary structures like hemoglobin in order for its pickup for the oxygen. So we required some cofactors like inorganic compounds like your iron, which is present in your hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is nothing but your protein only. So if the iron is present in a quaternary structure like Fe plus 4, then only it is able to pick up the oxygen from your lungs. Then enzyme inhibitions. Any substrate that can diminish the velocity of enzyme catalysis. These include drugs, antibiotics, poisons, and antimetabolites. So there are some enzyme inhibitors, like some drugs are there, some poisons are there. Like some poisons are there which causes the enzyme to get denatured. Or you can say some antibiotics or some antimetabolites. So these are like some categories of substrate or substance which will causes the enzyme to get inhibited. So useful in understanding the sequence of enzyme catalysis, reaction, metabolic regulation, studying in the mechanism of cell toxicity produced by the toxicants forms the basis for drug design. So all these like studies what we have seen till now, they will be used to make the drug design. If you know an enzyme properly, you can design a drug according to that. And if you know the enzyme which is responsible for making a cell wall in a bacteria, so you can make an antibiotic. So there are so many drugs, so many antibiotics which are there in the market. They are designed based on this principle only. The scientists know what is the cell structure of a bacteria or the virus. They make drug according to that particular enzyme which are responsible for making the cell component of that particular pathogen. Okay. So now we'll see the learning outcome. So we have studied all these topics. So there is a small MCQ I have kept for this particular class. The known protein constituent of conjugated protein are called the known non-protein constituent of conjugated protein are called cofactor, because the enzyme is your protein part. The amino acid they'll combine together to each other, they'll make the protein, and nucleoside is your nucleic acid. So ultimate answer is your cofactor. Okay. So now you guys can give the answer for this particular one, and with your proper explanation. What will happen if the heat is applied to an enzyme mediated reaction? If suppose a reaction is going on which is enzyme mediated, one biochemical reaction. Suppose we are converting your glucose to glucose 6 phosphate, okay, in presence of enzyme. If I put an heat on that particular reaction, glycolysis, the first reaction of glycolysis is what? The glucose and the glucose is getting converted to glucose 6 phosphate where the enzyme is required. If I put a heat to that particular enzyme beyond the optimum temperature, what will happen? The rate of reaction will not increase because that enzyme will get denatured. So the answer is your D, denaturation of the enzyme. So beyond a particular temperature, the enzyme will get denatured. So these are the references where you can study more about this particular topic. I hope you have understood. We have completed the topic, the factors which are affecting the enzyme.